down the street at Belmont are going through as I think about Jillian's friends, think about Jillian's family, as I think about the faculty and staff at Belmont, as I just think about that community trying to reckon with this act of violence and this needless harm and the hurt and the grief. And so I just want to take a second and pray for our friends down the street, to pray for Jillian's family, to pray for her friends as they grieve her loss, and to pray for God to provide peace in the midst of a really, really, really hard situation. So will you join me in prayer as we pray for Jillian's family and friends? God, we plead with you to come near to each of us. And God, we especially plead that you would come close to the friends and the family of Jillian, that you would come close to the Belmont community, that you would offer an immeasurable sense of peace, the kind of peace that we know that we can't generate ourselves, that only comes by the power of your Spirit, by the power of your presence as you draw near to us. God, we pray for comfort even in the midst of questions that can't be answered. We pray for love and support that we know can come from a community that is centered around you and your Son. And God, I even pray for maybe opportunities that we can find and seize to be good neighbors with our friends down the street. Would you give us a sense of your heart, of your compassion, of your vision as we look for ways to serve all kinds of hurting people in the world? And even in the midst of it, we know that you are near, that you are close, that you are good, and that you are still at work restoring and redeeming the world. We cling to that. We cling to your faithfulness. In the name of your Son, Jesus, we pray. Amen. So I'm really grateful that you're here this morning, and I'm excited for the next few minutes as we sing together and then as we hear a word, as we continue the study of Jesus' words in the Beatitudes. So I'm going to welcome our worship team up onto stage this morning, a group of friends who are visiting our campus and will be leading us here in just a couple of moments, led by my friend Luke Coles, who is the worship minister at Harpeth Hills Church of Christ here in town. I know many of you are engaged with the Harpeth Hills community. I'm thankful for this group of folks joining us and leading us in worship this morning. After they lead us in a few songs, we are going to hear a word from someone that I have the joy and privilege of calling one of my dearest friends in the world. And many of you know him and love him too. Our guest speaker for today is Rob Touchstone. Many of you I know have had Rob in class or have had the opportunity to engage with him through things with the Center for Vocational Discovery or for Business's Mission. Rob has been at Lipscomb for a number of years. Before that, served in youth ministry for a number of years. He most recently directed the Business's Mission initiative in the College of Business. He teaches in the College of Business, teaches in the College of Bible, and a couple of years ago took over the helm of the Center for Vocational Discovery. And I take any chance that I can just to hang out and spend time with Rob and to glean from his wisdom, but also just his joy and passion for life. Rob is someone who cares deeply about people, and you know that because I know so many of you have sat in his classrooms and you have felt his love and adoration for you, his care for you. You sat across from him, maybe with a cup of coffee in your hand, and you have seen the look in his eye when he gets excited about something. And I love seeing the Spirit of God at work in Rob's life and the ways that that impacts people around him. And he's going to share a bit of his story today that relates to his work here at Lipscomb and also relates to just another little small endeavor he's been a part of, which is founding the Well Coffee House, which is, just a small little side project that he's had in the last few years. So I'm excited for Rob to share in a few moments about one of the words of blessings from Jesus. So as we enter into this time of worship, I'm going to invite you to stand up this morning, to stand on your feet, and encourage you to join in and participate in worship. I'm going to pray for us real quick, and then we will sing together. God, we give thanks for any opportunity we have to lift your name high and worship and praise, to remind ourselves of your goodness, your faithfulness, your love, and also to remind each other in this shared community to tell the story together of your Son, Jesus, of his sacrifice, of his love, of his invitation into the best life possible. Would you meet us here in this place as we sing, as we worship together. It's in the name of Jesus we do all those things. Amen.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, almost noon, but it's still the day. Psalms reads, I will extol the Lord at all times. His praise will always be on my lips. I will glory in the Lord. Let the afflicted heart hear and rejoice. Glorify the Lord with me, and let us exalt together his name. I sought the Lord, and he answered me.
Yes, sir.
He delivered me from all of my fears. Those who look on him are radiant. Their faces shall never be covered in shame. How do I know? Because this poor man cried, and the Lord heard me. He saved me out of all of my troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps around me, around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. Amen? Join with us every sing. I sought the Lord, and he answered me, and delivered me from every fear. Those who look on him are radiant. They'll never be ashamed. They'll never be ashamed. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard me and saved me from my enemies. The Son of God surrounds his saints. He will deliver them. He will deliver them. Magnify, magnify the Lord with me. Come exalt his name together. Glorify the Lord with me. Come exalt his name forever. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Oh, blessed is he who hides in him. Oh, fear the Lord, all of you saints. He'll give you everything. He'll give you everything. Magnify the Lord with me. You come and exalt his name. Exalt his name together. Glorify the Lord with me. Come and exalt his name. Exalt his name forever. Ladies.
Let us bless the Lord every day and night. Never-ending praise. May our incense rise.
All right,
Let
fellas.
us bless
Praise the Lord.
every day and
All you
night.
servants,
Never-ending
praise the name of
May
the
our incense rise.
Lord.
Let us
Bless the Lord, praise God in his sanctuary, praise him on his mighty hand. Bless the Lord, praise God in his sanctuary, praise him on his mighty hand.
Praise the Lord, all you servants, praise the name of the Lord.
So, God, we come to do just that this morning, knowing that you are worthy of our praise and all the glory and all the honor. We invite our brothers and sisters here to magnify your name because we know that your nature and your character never changes. Your word never changes. And we're so grateful and thankful that we can count on you to be the same God. Amen.
I'm calling on the God of Jacob, whose love endures for generations. I know that you will keep your covenant. I'm calling on the God of Moses, the one who opened up the ocean. I need you now to do the same thing for me. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness. On your faithfulness. I'm calling on the God of Mary, whose favor rests upon the lowly.
And we know with you all things.
I know with you all things are possible.
I'm calling on the God of David,
On the God of David,
who
made a shepherd boy courageous.
I may not face
Goliath,
I got my own
but I
giant.
got my own
Oh
giant.
God, I need
God,
you.
my God, I need you.
need you
Oh
right
God,
now.
my God, I need
We
you
need you
now.
right now.
How I need you now.
Because you are my rock
Oh
of
rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness. On your faithfulness. You hear your children then, you hear your children now. You are the same.
Anybody believe that we serve the same
You
God?
are the same God. You answered prayers back then, and you will answer now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You were providing then. You are providing now. You are the same
God, you
God.
are.
the
We
same
know that you
God. You moved in power then. God moved in power now. You are the same
We know that you
God.
are.
You are the same
You are a
God.
healer.
You are a healer.
You are a healer
You
now.
are a healer.
You are the
now.
same God.
You are the same
You are the
God.
same God.
You are the
And
same
you are a
God. You
Savior.
are a Savior.
You're still a Savior
You
now.
are a
You
Savior
are the
now.
same God.
You are the same
You are the
God.
same
You are the same God. Oh God, my God, I need
We
you.
need you
Oh
right
God,
now.
my God, I need you now.
We need you now.
I need you now.
'Cause you are my rock of
Oh
ages.
rock of
And we're
ages,
standing
I'm
on
standing on your faithfulness.
your faithfulness.
On your
One more time, say, oh God, I need.
Oh God, my God, I need you.
Anybody need the
Oh
Lord
God, my
today?
God, I need you now.
need you now.
Oh, I need you
We need you now 'cause you're my rock.
Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness. On your faithfulness.
The splendor of a king. He's clothed in majesty.
Let all the earth rejoice. Let all the earth rejoice.
Wraps himself
He wraps himself in light.
darkness tried to hide.
And darkness tries to hide. It trembles at his voice. It trembles at his voice.
Sing it with me and say,
How great
one.
God, the three in one.
Father, Spirit, Son.
Father, Spirit, Son.
And the Lamb.
Lion and the Lamb.
And the Lamb. How great our God is our God. Sing with me, how great
is our
Oh, we'll see.
Oh, we'll see how great.
See how great our God
Is our God.
Then sings my soul, my Savior God,
To thee.
how great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, say,
Then sings my
soul, my Savior
God.
to thee. How great thou art.
How great thou art.
How great thou art. 'Cause you're the name above all names.
Sing with me,
And you're worthy of all praise.
Oh, we'll see
And our heart will sing, how great is our God.
is our God.
'Cause I know you're the name above all names.
Sing with me,
And you're worthy of all praise.
Oh, we'll see
My heart will sing, how great.
is our
One more time, can we lift it up together? Lift your voice. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great is our God. One more time, lift your voice and say, is our God. Sing with me, how great. Well, let the world see it. How great is our God. Amen. Give him some praise.
Well, good morning, friends, family, Lipscomb students. So good to be with you all. Today, I get to talk about what you might think of as the bonus beatitude. It comes from an unusual place. It's not in specifically the Gospels. It comes from the story of the church as told by Luke, and then as said by Paul in Acts chapter 20. He tells us something, a bonus statement or words of Jesus. He says, hey, it's kind of like how when Jesus said this. It's like how when Jesus says it's more blessed to give than to receive. And if you're a student of the Gospels, you say, I don't remember Jesus saying it exactly that way, and you're right. But he certainly said it in many other ways. And so today we want to talk about the blessing of giving. I oftentimes get asked, and sometimes even by some of you in interviews or in conversations that we get to do together, why I got into business or how I became an entrepreneur. And some of you have heard my answer to that when I trace my story back to when I was around 9 or 10 years old, growing up on a middle-class, kind of run-down golf course. I lived in a neighborhood that was surrounded by that golf course. And that's important to the story because this was not a wealthy area in Marietta, Georgia. It was an area where you could go and play golf even if you couldn't afford it. And it maybe was also a place that if you weren't that good of a golfer, you could come and play because there were golf balls everywhere. We found golf balls in the woods, in the ponds, in trees. And so for fun, we started to go out as kids and find those golf balls, and we made it into a competition to see who could find the most. We would have like an Easter egg hunt and bring them back and see who found the most. And one day we had the idea, what if we could sell these golf balls back to the lousy golfers who hit them there? And so we would clean them up and we would put a price tag on them, usually 50 cents. And then we would set up on the hardest hole. I remember it was a par 5, and we would set up on the hardest hole at the end of that hole. Let me tell you, as a kid, it's kind of interesting to watch what golfers do. When you're in the woods out there finding those balls, you hear a lot of colorful language. You hear a lot of things said about how they wish they had hit the ball. But we would go and set up and sell these golf balls, usually for 50 cents, and it worked really well. My entrepreneurial roots came from selling golf balls for 50 cents because it worked almost every time. Golfer walked by and we said, "Hey, miss or mister, would you like to buy a golf ball?" And sure enough, they reached into their pocket back in the days when people carried cash or coins, and they handed over the money and we handed over the golf ball. We made a nice little living at 9 or 10 to be able to go up to the clubhouse and buy a Coke or a snack and to enjoy the benefits, the fruits of our labor. Until one day we decided to scale the business. We were going to grow it. We were going to go big time. How many of you had a lemonade stand at some point in your journey? We decided we were going to go big time. We were going to do golf balls and lemonade on this day. So again, being strategic, we set up on the hardest hole, but this time on the hottest day. And so we made up 5 gallons of lemonade, and we decided to sell the lemonade. But first our pitch was, want to buy a golf ball? And sure enough, they did. And then came the follow through, and today we would like to sell you a cup of lemonade. Well, I don't know what it was, but no one bought it. It was maybe a packaging problem. As I look back through the lens of entrepreneurship, we didn't put a lid on it. Maybe it was a supply chain problem. They didn't trust us as kids making it. But whatever it was, they weren't buying the lemonade. So at the end of the day, we had about 5 gallons still left over. It was a little heavy to carry back to our house. Felt wasteful to pour it out on the ground. So we decided to pour it out in a different way. The next golfer comes by as it's starting to get dark, and we said, "Hey, would you like to buy a golf ball?" And the golfer said, "Sure," pulls out the 50 cents and pays us. And we said, "Today, sir, we would like to give you something for free. Would you like a free cup of lemonade?" That golfer reached into his pocket and handed over a $20 bill. And we looked at each other and said, we've been doing this wrong the whole time. We made more money that night giving away lemonade than we ever did selling golf balls. Now, the point of the story is not the money we made, although we did make a nice little living that night. We never went back out and did that same thing. Instead, it was about the transaction. I was giving them something undeserved. I mean, it was just a cup of lemonade, but we did give it away, and somehow the giving made all the difference. And the golfer was giving us something undeserved. The second golfer came by, did the same thing, $5, $10, just from the giving. There was something about the transaction. And that $20 that may have been the biggest profit margin I've ever experienced in business became more than a transaction that led to money. It was a transaction that led me to open my mind to grace and joy on both sides of the transaction. And that transaction for me became transformational. A few decades later, that transactional and transformational lesson was still deep within me when I sensed the Lord giving me a vision for a business. Not a typical business, but one that would be designed to give. One that would be fully designed to give back. One that would measure success by how much we could potentially give. The idea was that each transaction could lead to transformation. That we could serve our community and serve our world one cup of coffee at a time. We'd earn a profit and then we would give it away. And so the Well Coffee House was born in 2012 as a way to give profits to fund clean water needs for people especially those who are experiencing waterborne illness. Did you know 6,000 people die every single day from waterborne illness? We wanted to give our profits to fund water wells. We wanted to give our space to build community here in Nashville. We wanted to give jobs to people looking for a great place to work. We wanted to give coffee farmers an opportunity to do direct trade. And the Lord has blessed that business over the last 11 years in 6 locations. I'm convinced that the reason the Lord blessed the well was not because of my talent or our team's talent, but because it was a business devoted to giving and measuring success not by how much we could make, by how much we could give. But this is not about starting a business. It's about starting where you are and with what you have right here and right now in your hand. It's about stewardship. It's about taking the things that God has placed within you right here and now in this moment, in this season of your life, and using it to give back. To hold our hands open, to hold our possessions loosely, and to have open hearts to give freely. You know, it wears us out to hold on to things too tightly. If you will take your hands out for just a minute, and I just want you to think about how exhausting it is sometimes to try to hold on to everything we receive. Now, we've just looked briefly at the words that Paul says Jesus says in Acts 20. He says it's more blessed to give than to receive. Now, we love to receive, and it's okay to receive. It's a blessing to receive. But sometimes when all we do is receive and we have so many things to hold on to, it can really wear us out. Think for a minute about, on average, every American household, on average, has about 300,000 items. Now that's counting like everything from a deck of cards to a container of paper clips. But on average, 300,000 items in our households. That's a lot to keep up with. We spend 153 days on average in our lives looking for things that we have lost, trying to keep up with our possessions that sometimes end up possessing us. We have over 50,000 storage facilities in our country because evidently our homes are not enough to keep up with all that we have. And I want you to feel the squeeze in trying to hold on to what you have. Can you just humor me for a minute, but squeeze your hands and feel what it's like to try to hold on even to the blessings that we receive when we consume. And as you feel maybe your fingernails dig into the palms of your hands, it's a little reminder of why we are invited to live open-handed and open-hearted and to freely give. And I'd just like to invite you to feel the release that comes with saying, what I have is not my own. I am stewarding this for the sake of others. We have been blessed so that we can be a blessing to others. This is God's economy. This is God's design for us, like in the way that we breathe in and breathe out. It's a rhythm, a cycle of life, and yet we spend so much of our time holding on to, hoarding, stocking up, keeping what we have rather than surrendering. Now, I know Thanksgiving season is upon us. How many of you are excited about sitting at a table next week with friends and family and great food? You should be. And it's a time of thanksgiving for what we have received as blessings. Thanksgiving is a wonderful time to say thank you to God, the source of all of the things that we have, of all of our blessings. But did you know that Jesus is offering us a secret about our blessings? We just talked about one of those, and that is that we're blessed to be a blessing. That's secret number one. But secret number two comes in these words that Paul tells us Jesus said, and that is the secret is that when we pour ourselves out, that is the greatest of all blessings. That the blessing isn't just in counting our blessings, the blessing is in creating a blessing. It's every time we love and serve and give, we're not just counting a blessing, we're actually creating a blessing in a way that that transaction becomes deeply joyous for us and is a blessing for somebody else. When Paul says these words in Acts 20, he's talking to these beloved people in Ephesus who have become very dear to him. He has poured himself out for nearly 3 years in Ephesus, working hard in their midst. Paul, of course, was a rabbi and a teacher, but Paul was also a tent maker who went into the marketplaces, who went into the theaters and the lecture halls, and Paul worked hard with his own hands. And in Acts 20, he's telling those that he's about to leave, after 3 years, I worked hard, I labored and poured myself out for you. And he said, it's a reminder to me that it's more, in the words of Jesus, blessed to give than to receive. And there it is. The biggest blessing isn't a thing that we receive. The biggest blessing is in the giving. It's in the offering. So this isn't give so that you will receive. The blessing is actually in the transaction. It is in the giving. And I believe the return on that, in business we talk a lot about a return on investment, or some of you are very comfortable talking about ROI and how do you think about investing and what's the return on that. But the ROI on giving in God's economy is joy and freedom and satisfaction. And so in a way, again, we don't just count our blessings, although I would encourage you to do that. We have an opportunity to create our blessings. Because when we create blessings, we free ourselves from ourselves because we take the focus off of ourselves. And this is part of why giving is such a blessing. It's almost as if in the giving, it gives us a little break from worrying about ourselves. And it might just very well be the secret that some of you sitting here today might need to hear if you're looking to experience more joy in your life. And there's another way, again, that we create a blessing, and that is when we love and we give, we serve someone else, and the blessing that God is offering them flows through us. In a sermon that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. preached only months before he was assassinated, a sermon called The Drum Major, he said everybody can be great because everybody can serve. And this was a reminder that we don't just give and serve when we have plenty. We give what we have now with what we've been given. Jesus recognized a poor widow who only had 2 mites to give in the midst of those that were throwing in lots of money. And Jesus said, "Do you see what she gave? It was the greatest of the gifts. For they gave out of their abundance and put in offerings for God, but she, out of her poverty, put in all the livelihood that she had." Author Amy Sherman describes this giving and our role in it and our living into a giving lifestyle. She says we become agents of flourishing, as if God is working through us to contribute to human flourishing. You know, we're never more like Jesus than when we pour ourselves out. Jesus' message is that if you want to be great, take up your towel and wash feet. If you want to sit at the important table, humble yourself and take the lowest seat. Giving of self, indeed, was Jesus' pathway, his pathway to glory. When we give, I want to leave you with a closing thought about what happens in that moment. We experience a little piece of heaven on earth. You might say, well, I thought heaven was later. I thought heaven was what we get rewarded for perhaps when we die. Well, in Revelation 22, we see something really beautiful that sometimes surprises us, but when John looks into the future, he sees a tree of life. It's the tree of life that was talked about and shown to us in Genesis in the beginning. But in Revelation 22, we get a glimpse of the future. Why would God want us to see a tree of life that's in the future that is waiting for us? Well, this tree of life is described by John as having leaves on the tree that are for the healing of the nations. It's as if we are meant to see now the kingdom that Jesus was praying for that would come on earth as it is in heaven. And when we love and when we serve and pour out ourselves, it's like we're reaching into that future heaven and taking from that tree of life, not for ourselves, but for the healing of the nations. May we be people who love, who give, and experience the true blessing of pouring ourselves out freely for the sake of the world. Thank you.
Show Rob a little more love this morning and gratitude for that word, that invitation. I hope you'll take it up on that invitation, this opportunity to be a blessing. I know that so many of you have been blessed in so many ways. I hope you'll find ways to bless others around you. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving break. If we don't see you before then, go in peace. We'll see you soon.